Just a small suggestion. I know the episodes are lengthy, but trust me, I try to make it as short as possible. Feel free to increase the playback speed for your convenience. I recommend 1.3x or 1.5x. Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing fine during these tough times and taking all the necessary precautions and being safe. Our whole surrounding is a bit overwhelming right now, but let's just try and not panic and help anyone whom we can, however possible. Me and my platform are also available to do anything that can be done to help anyone in need. Let's just hope we get through this pandemic soon. Anyways, this is the seventh episode of the third season of my podcast, Perception 101. As I said before, in this season I'll be talking to people who have opted for unorthodox and unconventional careers, pursued it with all their efforts, and came out with something great. For this episode, our guest is a known calligraphy and doodling artist from Delhi. This episode is full of phases of her journey and how she tackled all the difficulties and came through to be where she is today. Her Instagram page ID is DelhiDoodler08. So let's not waste more time and welcome Sadhika Gupta. Hi Sadhika, I'm really happy to have you in this episode because someday I really used to think way before in my past that what about calligraphy, what about doodling, is there any future for doodle artists or calligraphers, how it's all about. When I came through your whole page and when I saw your first reel in my feed, I was really intrigued with what you do, the workshops that you provide, and the page that you have. So I'm really happy and I'm really glad that you had the
Thank
time
you.
to come up with in Perception 101.
Thank you so much for having me here, Samarth. And I must say, you're doing a very good job with your podcast. It's a very interesting concept, and you're providing people with, the education and awareness, many things which are not otherwise spoken about very openly. So I'm really excited for today's podcast as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Adhika. That's really, I'm really happy, to be honest. So we'll just start with a simple introduction about you. So I'll just give you the space to give your own intro.
Okay, cool. So, hi, my name is Sadhika Gupta, and I'm a calligraphy and lettering and doodling artist. Not just these, I do a bunch of other creative stuff as well. And my Instagram handle is DelhiDoodler08. Delhi Doodler over the last 4 or 5 years has become sort of like my alter ego, my alternate identity on Instagram and on the internet as well. And I do a bunch of creative stuff that I'm really excited to talk about.
Okay, that's really great. To be honest, some of my friends will be really happy because they actually follow you. I have around 10 to 15 people who actually follow you right now, who are actually, have a hobby of drawing or even art, sketching or doodling or something like that. I actually asked them indirectly about you, and they were really intrigued for that question as well, and they were like I know that person, I have been following her, she's doing such a great job. It would be so great if you could get her on your podcast and everything. So I am really excited for their reaction when they
Wow.
get about you. So Sadhika, the first question that I want to really ask you, and I am really interested to know, is that how did this whole thing come about? How did you know that this is the thing that you wanted to do? Because some people are just interested in doodling and everything just as a hobby. They don't think there is a future in doodling as you can earn money or something like that. So how did it all come about?
Right. So, there was no particular moment in my creative journey where I felt like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I think it's an ongoing process for me. It's always been like that. And the way it started was I had never started out with the intention of becoming an artist. Like, I mean, we're Indians and we're not taught that art is an option, career option, so to speak. we're just taught that okay, you can be this or that, you can be IAS or you can be doctor, engineer, the conventional careers. But art was never an option, honestly. So this is back in 2015-16 when I was preparing for UPSC. My background is in economics, which I did as my graduation subject, and then I moved on to preparing for the civil services exam, just like any other bright kid. And honestly, I wanted to give it a shot. I was very fascinated with the whole foreign services. So I gave like 1 or 2 years of my life to UPSC. 1 year was hardcore civil services preparation. It was during that time that I basically accidentally stumbled upon calligraphy on Instagram. And I used to just practice it like a hobby, like you said, that, a lot of people take this up as a hobby. That pure intention which I started practicing this art form. कभी भी दिमाग में ये चीज नहीं थी कि इसको एक full blown career बनाना है या फिर professionally, I have to become a doodler by hook or by crook or anything like that. So it started with the intention of having fun and just having a creative outlet for myself, basically, just to doodle and basically relax myself from that hardcore preparation that was going on at the time. After I gave my the civil services exam, the preliminary exam, and I realized that it's not going to happen. I don't think I'm going to get enough marks to get through. It is at that time that I basically started Delhi Doodler on Instagram, and meanwhile I had already been practicing for a year during my coaching, alongside my coaching. So I was like, okay, there is no harm. I have literally nothing to lose in my life because abhi mere paas वैसे भी कुछ नहीं है करने को. So okay, let's give it a try. And Sadhika, you deserve this one chance to yourself. And if nothing happens, okay, but you're still having fun. At least you're not doing what you actually enjoy and not preparing for some exam half-heartedly. So with that intention, I started, and I think the universe rewards people who try something different and who try something with all their heart. So at the time, calligraphy was seeing a sort of renaissance or revival in the West. And following that, it started seeing a revival in India as well. And there was this whole, sort of surge in people who started becoming more and more interested in calligraphy. So people saw my work on Instagram, through Instagram, and they were very fascinated. Just like you said, I saw your work and your reels, and it just caught my attention. So my page is like that. It's very vibrant, it's bright, and it will grab your attention for a second. So I started doing mandalas, I started doodling, calligraphy, whatever, just to have fun. And eventually people were like, why don't you teach us? So I started taking workshops in 2017. Then people started inquiring about, hiring me for gigs, like freelance gigs and all. So I started getting some projects as well on the side. So I feel like it's still like, it's still a learning curve that I'm on. And I feel like I will forever be on that learning curve. As long as the moment you choose to become a creative entrepreneur, the moment you choose to become an artist, you are selecting this learning curve for yourself, this whole learning trajectory for yourself, which you always have to keep on moving, upwards on. So I think I'm still on that. And there was no particular moment as such when I realized that, okay, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. It's just that opportunities kind of just kept on unfolding themselves, and I'm happy with what I'm doing right now. I don't know if I will continue doing this 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line. Maybe some version of this, maybe some different technique, something different that related to doodling or calligraphy, but I know that I've chosen to become an artist for life. That's all.
The last thing that you said, that you are happy, that's one of the major things right now which people actually want to be. Somewhere there is this thing that is stuck inside their stuck in so many people's head that they are not happy from inside whatever they are doing, if it's a job or even if it's a business. when it comes to that mark where you are happy, you are actually satisfied from within. So that is really
Yeah,
good to
I
know.
agree.
And the last thing, the major last thing that you said, that you're not sure that this will be the only thing that you'll be doing, or this will be the thing that you'll be doing for the next few years. Maybe a part of it, maybe a different part of it, but you are doing right now whatever it is, and you are happy. That's the major thing that is important. uh, wha-
Yeah.
uh, the different thing that I would really like to ask you is that what kind of difficulties have you faced? Since my whole podcast is about stereotypical things and everything, so I would really like to know, was there any stigma? I don't want to offend you here, but was there any stigma in relation to you being a woman, or you being in a patriarchal society, and have to prove yourself
Yeah.
in every place? Was there any problem like that?
So I will be honest. I think it's an ongoing thing. I basically don't have anything to prove to anyone on the very outset. But as a woman, I feel like there is this moral responsibility, there's this thing that you owe to yourself. That if I can inspire somebody with my skill, if I can not prove people wrong in a way, because there is nobody to prove wrong, but prove myself right. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference in that perception. That जो मैंने करने की ठानी है, जो मुझे करना था और वो सक्सेसफुली कर रही हूँ, so there is that constant sort of battle in the head, and there is always that thing in the back of my mind that I have to do it for myself, and this is something that I have to prove to myself, that I can do it. I'm a strong woman and I can run a successful business despite being a woman, and I have to use this as my strength. So there were a lot of difficulties that I faced starting out as an artist, and even now. I think first of all, the biggest stigma is the profession of art itself. Nobody wants to accept that you can be a full-time artist. And also, you're not painting murals, or you're not painting on regular canvas and stuff. You're doing something very unconventional within art, which is doodling, which which is not given as a formal education anywhere in the world, right? Over that, you're also multitasking and you're doing calligraphy, hand lettering. Again, these things are not formally taught, right? In a lot of places there are design schools and all, where these are taught as minuscule parts of their course, but nothing which specializes in calligraphy or doodling and all. So the first stigma was this. Breaking this stigma was like, and it's still I think I'm still doing that. I'm still trying to break this notion that you can be an artist, you can be a commercial artist, and you can be an unconventional artist. You can make money out of this. And for me, it's not even about the money making part, honestly. For me, it's about doing it happily, like I said in the beginning. This is one of the first stigmas that I'm trying to break, that art can be a profession for people, and that parents should allow their kids to pursue art as a career option as well, not just doctor or engineer. The second thing is as a woman, like I said, you can be a successful woman entrepreneur and do something unconventional. So first of all, it was very difficult for me in the beginning to convince my own parents that I am leaving this whole UPSC and the government job exams and all, and choosing something unconventional, because they were mentally not prepared. Their kid has done very well throughout school and college, and they are suddenly not prepared for this shift. But when they saw that I'm actually happy doing what I am, and luckily for me, within a year or two, things had started picking up. But that 1-2 year also was not easy, in the beginning. When my parents saw that, okay, there was not a sudden influx of money coming, for Terry Doodler right in the beginning. It's always like it's difficult as a creative entrepreneur. So but they saw that I'm happy doing what I am, and that people are slowly recognizing it. So when they saw the newspaper articles and on PR and everything, and they saw that people are supporting me and they're joining my workshops, etc., they were willing to accept this career option, and they were happy as well. So I think these are the challenges that I faced in the beginning. Thankfully, people around me have been very supportive. My vendors, and nobody's like, you're they don't take you seriously because you're a woman. I think the reason that notion is changing, especially since last year, is because we have seen a huge surge in women entrepreneurs, because of that whole lockdown phase and everything. I think women are very enterprising. When they set their mind to something, they will get it by hook or by crook. So I think people are now getting used to that fact, and like getting used to that energy. And now it's not, very unconventional, very hard to assume that, okay, if you're a woman, you can't do business. You know what I'm saying? So I think thanks to all the amazing women who are doing such good job of being entrepreneurs, I think this notion is also breaking away. Yeah.
To be honest, I was about to ask you, what about your parents? Because you just told me that you left UPSC and then you came to a creative background. Plus, right now I got to know that you were very good in studies as well throughout your learning period. So that is one thing which is very, we actually could die for their acceptance. Like parents, when they accept what we are doing and we are happy, it's a very huge confidence build up for us. Like with my
Absolutely.
As well, talking about menstruation, and my dad being 51 years old, he would be somewhere very awkward
unsure
when it comes to talking about these kinds of things. But when he saw that whatever I am doing is helping me, be more open up about things, be more, outspoken about whenever it's wrong or right, and even if there is a small bit of family fight or family feud with, in our family or something, I step up nowadays, and that thing actually helped him understand that whatever I am doing, it's helping me grow. So
it's helping you in your personal growth.
Yes,
correct.
Yes. And when that acceptance came up, so I can actually somewhere at least feel what you would have felt when your parents saw those articles and your futures and the PR and everything. Even when you shared those things with me, I was so happy that something like this is being appreciated in our country. And as you said that in 2020, a lot of women have come up with so many entrepreneurial ideas, so many different kinds of things. Even around me, people who have been so introverted, there are around 6 to 7 women around who are close to me. They have started their own ventures, and within a span of I guess 3 or 4 months, getting 1,500 followers, getting appreciations, getting deals, getting a lot of features. Those things have actually made me even realize this कि हाँ, अगर कोई woman they put their mind and soul to it, they can do anything, they can achieve anything, because they don't have
absolutely उसमें तो पहले भी कोई शक नहीं था, but it's just that अब वो चीज ना और prove होती जा रही है. So because so many people are setting the right example.
Yes, and what the main thing here is that they don't have anything to lose, because people already doubt on women, and when they prove, it's like a different gut feeling, different proud moment for every single woman out there that yes, a woman has done something like that. Even the Bumble thing, I guess you heard about the news of Bumble, the founder of Bumble, how she got the IPO launched and everything, how she is right now such a big billionaire at 31 and everything. So that is one example that women set up, and that is a boost up for other women ki haan wo log bhi kuch waisa kar sakte.
Absolutely.
That's somewhere I believe ki haan, this patriarchal society can be a equal society after all, kahin na kahin, because of these things, because women are being outspoken, and a lot of men and other genders and everyone are coming out and talking about it, even in India today. So that's
Right.
where I am really happy to see such growth for women throughout this last year, when I also started this whole thing and I got the chance to talk to a lot of women. So
Right.
we always talk about achievements, right? We always talk about a lot of difficulties that people go through, and when they start a venture and then they cross that, and there is growth. I really want to know from you a simple failure that has helped you grow somewhere, where
Hmm.
देर आर क्वेश्चन समटाइम्स कि हाँ सब लोग अपने अचीवमेंट्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, कोई अपने फेलियर के बारे में कभी बात नहीं करता. सो आई
Hmm.
वॉन्ट, if it's okay for you, I really want to know a
Hmm.
failure that has helped you grow and keep going on.
Okay, so that's a very good question, and I don't think I've ever spoken about this on in the other interviews and other podcasts that I've done. It's
Okay.
an excellent question that you've asked.
Okay.
One of the failures which I will admit to and which have actually helped me grow is, I told you, right? I started teaching workshops in 2017, and at that time there was nobody teaching in Delhi. Like brush calligraphy was not a very the whole concept of workshops and gathering at cafes and taking workshops was very, very new, and I was one of the first people to do it in Delhi. So when I started doing it, there was no one, but by 2019 there were quite a few people who, some have learned from me, some have who have learned just like me on Instagram, and they started emulating and copying the same model that I was doing, and taking the same kind of offline workshops, exactly the same teaching, lesson plan and everything else the same, the way they post for the group picture. So every tiny bit was very copied, right? So when that started happening, okay, there were one or two people because of that, and when they started pricing their workshops at a slightly lower price, and then people start comparing and they start going to the slightly lower priced one, they and all of that. So I started kind of losing my workshop audience a little bit, especially in Delhi. So when that happened, I took a little step back, and I was like, for 3 months I challenged myself to not take any workshop in Delhi and see if I can actually make a living out of not teaching calligraphy but actually doing calligraphy and doing anything else, so I was very disappointed in myself that I'm not able to kind of grow in that workshop, that particular brush calligraphy workshop in Delhi. But that was one of my failures, and thankfully the reason I thank that failure for happening is that it gave me an opportunity to see beyond workshops and see what more can happen in terms of calligraphy, in terms of art, in terms of doodling. And it freed up my calendar, it freed up my mental space and allowed me to experiment with so many other things. And it got me clients and projects that I never dreamt of. Some of them I can't even speak about right now because I've had contracts with them, but I went to Agra to do calligraphy, on-site calligraphy for the most luxurious event that I've ever seen in my life. And again, that could happen because my calendar was suddenly free from workshops, and I could take that up, and a lot of other things. Like I was doing corporate calendars, I was doing a bunch of designing work, I was doing wedding cards, animations, whatnot. So I took up every other work except for workshops in those 3 months, and I realized there's so much potential beyond teaching calligraphy as well. I love teaching, I love doing what I do, but yeah, I think that sort of failure kind of had a positive outcome ultimately on me, because it helped me see beyond the obvious.
That this failure is going to help a lot of people to understand that कि हाँ कहीं पे अगर वो छोटा सा failure भी हो तो you can actually go through that phase, and क्या पता और नए opportunities के doors खुल जाए. This is
Actually, yeah,
this is
exactly.
and I would really I actually, when I started following you, I saw that you were doing something for Nykaa as well. uh,
Yeah.
in Delhi, I guess, some mall.
Yeah.
That was like कि यार doodling में Nykaa में क्या ऐसा हो सकता है? Now right now you're talking about certain corporate tie-ups that you have had, certain contracts that you have had in Agra. Then you got the opportunity to do something that you never dreamt that you could have done if you would have been doing the workshop and
Exactly.
everything. So this is why I want to talk about failures, because failures से हमेशा कुछ अच्छा ही निकलता है, कुछ खराब कभी निकला नहीं है. So I'm
Absolutely. It's just that you have to take that opportunity. So it's not like I sat back on everything that I did. So in those 3 months, I built my Instagram portfolio even more, and I gave myself the space to experiment and learn new scripts like Devanagari, calligraphy, and improve my copper plate calligraphy as well. So it's like you should always be learning and outdoing not just others but yourself. Like I told you, we're always on that learning curve. So it's like you have to always better yourself, because ultimately the people who are stagnant in their learning curve, you will leave them behind,
yes.
no matter what, and they will stay where they are. It's only people who grow and actually continue to improve, they are the ones who go ahead in life, I
and
feel.
you understand your potential as well, like there's no
Exactly.
limit of learning, there's no time for education, like कि हाँ यही एज तक आप पढ़ सकते हो, लर्न कर सकते हो, ग्रो कर सकते हो. बट जब
Bilkul.
वो potential, you get to know that potential, you cross your own benchmark. The competition should be with
Yes,
yourself,
with
even with the
yourself. Yeah.
failure. You get
Yeah.
to know कि हाँ this is the thing that I can even cross right now, and someday you will be like कि हमको तो पता ही नहीं था कि I can even do that, and right now I am
Exactly.
somewhere very ahead of that. So
Yeah.
it's really inspiring to know your failure here, because and I'm happy to say it a failure, because उसके बाद you have had so many different kinds of things that have helped you grow. So
Exactly. Once you hit the rock bottom, after that you're only going up. You're not going
yes,
down,
yes.
right?
That's true. That's true. That was what I was about to say. The same thing here. Was this like the only thing that you wanted to do? Like, yes, you were doing something like you were studying for UPSC. You started this thing as a hobby, and then you got the opportunity and you went for it. And right now
Right.
you're doing it full time. You have your own merchandise, you have your own website, you are doing workshops, contracts. There are so many different kinds of things that you have been doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you think that there was more potential if like, I'm not going to compare with any other thing,
Hmm.
but that you always wanted to do also, if not this, because you just told me at the start that this is not the only thing that I would do in future. You're not sure about
Hmm.
it. शायद ये हो,
Hmm.
शायद इसका ही कोई part हो, but क्या क्या पता कुछ
Hmm.
और. So is there something
Huh.
else that you would love to do, or you would have loved to do?
So I really enjoyed photography at some point of my life, and like random pictures, and I like telling stories through pictures. Now storytelling has become really popular as a marketing strategy, and you'll see a lot of advertising, you'll see a lot of people telling stories and bringing out nostalgia to sell stuff. But I just really enjoy storytelling, and for my own personal account on Instagram, I used to take random pictures while walking through old Delhi and through really obscure parts of Delhi sometimes, where I would find things which are very uncommon, and I would just write about them and my perspective on things. So photography is something I really enjoyed at some point, and I still love that. I still like taking pictures, and I still, if you've seen my Instagram, I write really long captions, and my
Yes.
sister used to always be like, why do you write such paragraphs? Kaun padega itna? But I feel like my captions are the one thing that makes me different from others, because if everyone else is just posting that random Pinterest quote as a caption, or posting the cliche stuff as caption, whereas I'm trying to tell you an original story, or I'm trying to tell you something which is personal to me, that makes me different. So I think that storytelling aspect is still something I've held on to, and I've from very surprisingly, people have come up to me 1 year, 2 years after a post on Instagram, and they're like, "आपने उस वाली post में ये लिखा था ना?" I'm like, "Wow, you remember that?" So I think when you write something from your heart and you share that vulnerable side of your personality with your audience, they really like that, and they relate with that. And so yeah, I think
दुनिया का
photography is something I maybe would have done. Yeah.
इस मामले में दुनिया बहुत बड़ा है because you don't even know which person can get inspired with whatever you do,
बिल्कुल.
even if it's a
Right.
single letter that you write or a single picture that you take, a single thing that you do. You don't know in this whole world that कि वो छोटा सा caption, वो
Absolutely.
बड़ा सा caption किसको inspire कहाँ से कर दे. So this is
Yeah.
something that people need to understand somewhere कि कोई भी काम छोटा नहीं होता. If you enjoy, if you are happy doing something, you can enjoy it, and help people get inspired as well. The next question I really want to ask you is that it's all about the pandemic. It's all about the lockdown. People have started so many new ventures. I started this whole podcast. A lot of things have come up, and as you said that during the last few months or the last year, a lot of new things have come up because everybody has stayed home. They have had the chance to self introspect कि हाँ क्या होता है, कैसे कर सकते हैं. Their hobby can be something else and everything. So how was the pandemic for you? How did it affect your venture or your even plus? I would really like to know about your mental health. If you could just give a few points in that.
Okay. So I think that's a very good question, and again, that's something that I haven't really had the chance to talk about through Instagram or otherwise on any other platform so far. I think people assume that for artists and for people in general who are creative, this was a booming time. The pandemic was a booming time because of all the opportunities we were getting and because all the work that was coming our way. Suddenly, people realizing so much time that they have on their hands and they want to explore art. They want to try art. So no doubt, the pandemic was that whole lockdown period and everything got a lot of opportunities and work, but on the mental health aspect of it, it wasn't the easiest time, to be very honest. I think what we don't show on Instagram is what is happening in the background in our families. What struggles we're facing, and ultimately, yes, the bandwidth did increase. We had more time on our hands because we were not traveling anywhere. But with that extra bandwidth and extra time came additional responsibilities and additional struggles because there was a lot of homework also to do, and at the back of your head, there is still that insecurity that, you still have to be cautious. Okay, the number of cases are increasing in your city. So the mental health wasn't very my mental health wasn't in a very good place. It was fine, honestly, when it started and during that actual 3 month lockdown, that was fine. But after that, I feel like it got a little difficult for me to manage. And during those 3 months, I tried doing a lot of Instagram live sessions and lettering parties and, all of that kind of stuff to kind of engage people and get to know them a little better. But when I could not do it anymore, and when I felt like, no, now forcing myself to be fake on Instagram and show that I'm happy when I'm not would be lying to my audience. So that's when I stopped doing Instagram live sessions. And after, I think, August or September, I've not done any Instagram live session or anything. I'm still trying to, thankfully, from December, January, it's gotten better. And now I am in a space where I can work my way around things a little better, manage my schedule a little better. And I think now we've gotten a little used to this kind of living over the last so many months. So I think now the mental health is better, and now I feel like, okay, now I think I am ready to kind of go back into engaging my audience and interacting more with them. But it's like nobody wants to share the side story, the sad part of the story, right? And nobody wants to hear a sob story. You're coming on Instagram and scrolling because you want that happy, happy vibe, and you want that positivity and all. So, while I was really happy practicing art, making all these new products for my shop, and doing all of that, it was keeping me occupied. But I wasn't very sure of doing that live interaction and putting my vulnerable side for those few months on Instagram. I was like, I want to take a step back. I can't lie to people because when you're doing live, it shows on your face, right? You can't really lie so easily when you're doing an Instagram live. When you're taking a picture and putting, okay, fine, nobody can see. But when you're doing videos and stuff, it kind of shows, by default. So I think it was difficult. It was first easy, then difficult, and now it's like I've again gotten used to, living a certain way because of the pandemic, and now I've kind of adjusted my schedule. So yeah, the pandemic brought a lot of opportunities, but also brought additional struggles.
Okay. So, if I ask you to rank from 0 to 10, 10 being the best for your mental health, like I'll just go from time to time. Before the pandemic, before the whole situation, COVID and everything, how was your mental health from 0 to 10?
So before that, I was ready to take on the world, and I was like, 2020 is my year, and I was on an all-time high. February was like one of the best months I've ever had in terms of my career. I had just gotten done with, I think, 2 luxury brand assignments. I had done a bunch of personal commission work, and I was ready for that next big thing to happen. And so at that time, my mental health was like a 9 or 10, probably. Yeah.
And during the pandemic, like during the lockdown, pandemic is still going on.
During the lockdown, it was 7.58 sort of a thing. It was still not that bad. I'll give you that.
Right now?
Right now, it's fine. Right now, it's again going back to that 9 and 9.5.
Okay. That's great. That's
Yeah.
really great to hear, because as we have seen so many, it's not just the COVID cases that we are seeing right now, it's the mental health pressure that people are having because of losing
Exactly.
jobs, because of losing their family, because of losing
Exactly.
house,
Exactly.
livelihood. People have been struggling so much since the last year, because you are not the only one, to be honest, for saying 2020 is my year, because I got out of college in 2019, and 2020 was sort of my year. I was the day lockdown actually happened, 23rd. I was about to get my first promotion letter in just 5 months of my job, and as soon as that happened, my company just told me that after the lockdown is over, we'll give you. And when the lockdown was not getting over, my parents didn't let me leave my hometown and all, because obviously they'll care about the whole situation. It was very terrifying for anyone. So I had to leave my job because of that. And that is where it was a very struggling part for me. And it's just my promotion that I'm talking about, but there are so many other people who have lost their livelihood.
Job,
They have come to the streets. It was incredible for a lot of people as well. काफी digital marketers, काफी YouTube creators, content creators have reached out to certain levels that they'd never imagined in their lives. But there are certain people that we don't see. जैसे आपने कहा ना कि Instagram is all about the happy vibe that people want to see. And when it comes to that sob story, and when it comes to that struggling part, when people try to share, it's mostly the tap thing कि हाँ, या फिर scroll thing कि हाँ, इसको हटाओ. We need the good story, we don't need the bad story. कि खुद के life में कोई कंपनी झंझट तो चल रहा नहीं है. And it's like we want to be in that good vibe. I'm really happy that you were comfortable sharing your mental health thing, because not a lot of people are happy. That's
I just feel like if maybe somebody listening to this feels the same way and they've been through the same struggle, then they'll be like, oh, thank God I was not alone, And I was losing out on the Instagram engagement and I was losing out on the numbers, my followers were decreasing, but honestly, I couldn't care less. I was like, this is not just the only thing left in my life. There are more things to take care of. There's my family, and they have their own mental health struggles, they have their own challenges to face. And people were like, we haven't seen you in a while. What is everything okay? And all of that. And I'm like, yeah, everything's okay because I am very closed that in that sphere. I don't like to share everything on Instagram. I've never shared about my family. I've never shared a picture of them. I'm very close about that part of my life, and there are only very few things that I like to speak about on Instagram. So I'm like, to hell with engagement. I know the people who will still follow me despite not posting anything for weeks at end, because those are the people who started following me back when I was 500 followers, 1,000 followers, and they're still stuck around, so they will be there.
The
It's
loyal
okay
ones.
if people want to unfollow, let them. I'm not going to force somebody to keep following me. Yeah.
The loyal followers that are always there to help out, and they know.
Yeah, I believe in the 1,000 true fan theory. There's this theory that you don't need a million followers, or
Yes.
you don't need 100,000 followers. You just need 1,000 true followers, 1,000 loyal fans. So
That is enough.
I think those are the people. Yeah.
So, do you like the whole thing, the Delhi Doodler thing, and the whole venture that you have? Is it all alone that you do, or you have people around delegated? I know there are, people helping you here and there for, like you said about the vendors and everything. But as your whole team, is there anyone else, or you're the only one?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, for most part, before COVID happened, I was doing a lot of work myself, and my sister was on and off helping me, pack stuff for workshops. So I helped me here and there a little bit. But during the pandemic and during the lockdown, when her college also got off and she got a lot of time on her hands as well, she dedicated that whole time to me, and helped me build my website, my online shop, and everything. So she is kind of like my right arm, and she handles everything which is tech related, nerd related, anything which I can't wrap my head around. I give it to her. I'm like, please figure this out for me. So yeah, and we both handle packaging orders and customer service, back end, all of that work. So yeah, she's kind of like my business partner, my team partner. And even my parents now, I think they have become very good at handling people and handling like the courier guys, and I call them my back-end operations team. So
That is
so
great.
they have really helped me and supported me, and it's not been the easiest for them also. Honestly, they've had to it's taken them a while to understand, first of all, what exactly I do on
Yes.
Instagram, and how things happen. So it's taken them a while to understand that, but now that they know what I do, they are all in as well, and they really help me and try and help me wherever possible, whether it's packaging a bulk order, or if I'm not home and I'm like, mom, I have a Zoom call, can you please see if the courier guy comes, and can you please count the number of packets before giving to him, and please make sure FedEx goes to FedEx and delivery goes to delivery, and all of that. So now everyone knows my parents, and they're like, namaste, namaste, and it's all fine. So they're kind of like my backends operation team, and my sister is the one who mainly handles all the tech stuff. Yeah.
So, I am so happy to see your face when you are talking about your parents helping you out, because that's the true happiness that people want, and you have this glow on your face when you are talking about your parents helping you out and doing
Absolutely,
this, doing that.
absolutely. They are the ones who push me, and honestly, I would have never started or never come out of that depression. And I'm not using this word lightly. I was actually depressed when I couldn't make it through UPSC and all those other government job exams. It is my mother mainly and my parents, my family, who believed in me, and they were like, no, I know my girl, I know my daughter, she's better than this. You know, they'd be telling people, because then the society starts questioning you. Oh, your daughter is of marriageable age. Why don't you,
Yeah.
marry her off and just get done with it? So, but they're the ones who held on to that belief that she's better than this, and she will come out of this stronger. So they gave me that space and everything. So I'm very thankful to them for everything.
When parents do their work and when they leave us for our work, it's like कि हाँ अब वो लोग हम मेरा
Match made in heaven.
हाँ
Yes.
yeah that's what कि हाँ अब वो लोग संभाल लेंगे, बाकी जो भी संभालना है, मेरा काम जो है वो मैं करने के लिए रेडी हूँ, and that's it. उससे ज़्यादा हमको कुछ नहीं सोचना.
Exactly.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I'm really happy because a lot of parents don't agree to
Support.
these things.
Yeah.
They don't support, and काफी आगे जाके yes they might support, but people give up. After during this whole episode, I guess people will be they will challenge themselves to prove their point to their parents. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So parents will also support, because आपका चेहरा में अभी जो glow मैंने देखा है ना, it's really rare, to be honest. काफी लोग झूठ बोलते हैं.
I think this is my main goal in life. When somebody asks me, and when my parents, when my sister asks me, or anyone asks me, what are your goals? Apart from, I feel like the financial goals and the career goals come much later. For me, my only goal in life from day one has to be to make my parents proud of me. That's all. I want to see that glimmer in their eyes when they talk about me, and they do. They're my biggest PR team also, by the way. So I leave it to them to talk about me to other people, and they speak with all that pride that she's literally turned nothing into something. So but that's been my number one goal right from the beginning, and it still continues to. I want to keep making them proud. That's all. बाकी चीजें तो बहुत secondary आती है.
That's nice. That's really nice. So managing lives is also important, right? Your own personal life, your own personal growth, plus then comes your professional life, your whole career, your whole venture and everything. How did you do that? Because a lot of people have told me that वो लोग दोनों चीज सेम है. काफी लोग ने ये भी कहा है कि they are still struggling to do it. काफी लोग ने ऐसे भी बोला है कि yes, they have separated it totally कि हाँ, this is my personal, this is my professional life. So how do you do that when it comes to choosing in between?
So I agree with all of those people. I think when you start something which is you're so passionate about, it kind of becomes your life in a sense. You take it over completely, and you let it just completely take over yourself. Your other aspects of life are completely forgotten about. Forget personal growth, forget your personal life, forget anything else happening in your life. So till last year, I'm talking very recently, till December end, this was what was happening, and that is also the reason why the mental health struggles that I was facing during the pandemic, because it became very difficult for me to separate my family life, my personal life from my work. Everything just became one at some point of time, because I was so into my work and I was so absorbed by it. I couldn't say no to projects, I couldn't say no to work. And at the same time, there were engagements happening. And to give you a very apt example of how this affected, till the day of Diwali, I was working. Like Diwali is like my peak season. The whole October, November time is like the peak because festivities, and there's so much demand for personalized stuff. I was, for the first time, and this last year also, I was working one day before Choti Diwali, and this year I was working till the day of Diwali. So like till the afternoon of Diwali, I had to work because I had committed to certain projects which were very urgent and which were very personal to somebody else, and I couldn't say no. And thankfully for me, my parents understood that, my family understood that. But when I sat myself down on December 31st, and this is something I do at the end of every year, I take a step back at everything I've done in the last year. I'm like, what is the one thing that I could change to make my life better? And I realized it was separating my personal goals from my career goals and creating that space between the two. So now I have become slightly better at creating that distinction. And whenever, supposing my sister starts talking about work on, say, the dinner table, I immediately stop her. I said, no, this is not the time. Have your dinner in peace and we'll discuss it later. So I think it's very important to have that distinction. And for creative people, for people who are very passionate about something, no, it becomes very difficult to separate these two aspects. So I'm still struggling a little bit here and there, but now at least I have that realization that, okay, this is not the time to talk about something. This is the time for me to enjoy myself. This is the time for me to work. And I've also in this process, I had to explain my parents and family that, okay, right now I cannot go to the mall, even if it's a weekday and even if I'm my own boss, because I have work. We'll go on the weekend when I have time for you, when I separate make time for you, and during the weekend, I promise I will not be doing any work. And even if I am, I'll finish it the first thing in the morning, and then my rest of the day is for you. So where that distinction clearly happens, and when it requires some sacrifices, it requires a lot of discipline and strength, mental strength. It's not that, to things like that, things that are personal, but it's important. When that distinction happens, everything else flows smoothly, and your whole peace of mind changes. You're at a different level altogether, and you're like, okay, now I feel like I'm in control of my life. So yeah.
Would you say that this distinction came about, this understanding came about because of your experience and the growth and the different success that you have had? Because of that, is it because of that?
No. So it came about when I realized that there was something missing.
Okay.
Imagine you're working on the day of Diwali. The whole point, and Diwali is my most favorite festival of the year, and I wasn't able to enjoy it completely. I could only enjoy it for the last, like the puja and the last 3-4 hours. But before that, I was working on and off. I could just not stop working because I was so bad at managing my time. So it came from this realization that, Sadhika, okay, why are you not happy right now? Like, for me, I told you in the beginning, happiness comes first. If I'm not happy doing something, I will not do it. I've recently said no to a very big project only because I was not happy taking it on. That's all. So for me, that matters the most in the world. So when I sat myself down at the end of the year, I was like, why is it? What is it that's stopping me from becoming happy? I have everything that I need, yet I'm not happy. So what is it? And then I realized, what is lacking is the balance between your personal life, your personal goals, your personal growth, and between your career, which you are so passionate about. So it comes from that realization.
Yeah, the introspection that you have had,
Exactly.
to understand कि कौन सा time पे किस चीज को importance देना is, it's really
exactly good. It's all about prioritizing. Yes. Bingo. Yeah.
So one piece of advice that you would like to give someone who wants to start something like this in doodling or being an artist or being a calligraphy, be it calligraphy or be it even simple art form, any art form, if it is, what piece of advice would you give them?
I would say first, practice that art form. Try to give it your best shot and try to enjoy it and try to absorb it and try to immerse yourself in it without thinking about the commercial aspect of that art form right in the beginning. Once you're good at it, then you can think about, okay, how do I provide service, or how do I provide products to people? How do I market myself, and so on and so forth. But I think don't rush it would be one. Don't see that, okay, there are 10 people on Instagram who are making it big as as an artist in this genre, I can also do it. Yes, you can, but don't rush in the commercial aspect of it. I would first, like I said, give priority to whether I'm enjoying doing something or not. Because otherwise, if you're not enjoying it, it will again eventually become a 9 to 5 job for you. I feel. So you have to enjoy it. You have to understand what are your strengths and weaknesses, and whether you're actually ready to commit to it full time or not. If you are, and if you are really hardworking, you have the support of your family and peers, then go ahead. Then there is nothing to stop you.
That is a really great advice because uh, some people have just given advice, just to relate it to their own venture. You gave this advice to all the people who want to start something else totally, anything unconventional. It's not
Yeah.
just about the art form here. It's not
Yeah.
even about podcasting or even dancing or singing. It can be anything in
Yeah.
life, even if it's any exam that they want to give or a job that they want to do, anything that in life. These are simple
Yeah.
advices that you have given. Just simple, just simple advices here that can actually prove
Yeah.
them कि हाँ तुम कुछ कर सकता है if you go through these things.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
last,
just understand that there is a difference. Just understand that there is a difference between doing something hobby and a career. The moment you understand that, and a lot of people don't understand in the beginning, उनको मतलब experience ही पता चलता है. पंजाबी में कहते हैं ना ठेडे खाते हुए पता चलता है. So they realize it with experience. So I am giving you this advice, and take it from me, that there is a difference between doing something as a hobby and as a career. If you're willing to give it your 100% and you're actually genuinely passionate about it, only then take on the struggle. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Keep continuing it as a side hustle, side hobby, passion. Be happy doing it along with your 9 to 5 job. There's no harm in that.
yeah, that's also true. That's true. So the last question that I have for you is that the difference. This is one question that I will ask everyone who will be coming to my podcast for this season. The difference that you see in yourself when you started this whole venture, and right now today,
Hmm.
the difference between the Sadhika
Hmm.
that moment and the Sadhika today. What will you say?
I think I'm much more, I would like to think that I'm much more mature now, much more. I started it as a kid, almost not exactly a kid. I mean, I was I think 23 or 20 to 23. I was already, I had nothing to do. Imagine at 22, 23 years of age, where people had already gotten jobs at MNCs and whatnot from my college. So I feel like I'm much more mature now. I have much more a deeper sense of realization of what is wrong, what is right. I can weigh pros and cons more efficiently of things around me. I have a stronger grip, sort of on my life, and on things that I do have a control on. I feel like I'm in a kind of nice space right now, and I feel like, okay, I have something that I've accomplished, and I have this realization that what I've done so far is great, but there is also a lot of work and a lot of things to do that lie ahead of me. So it's not the end, it's just the beginning.
Okay. That's really good. The way you just explained everything. Sadhika, thank you so much for being in my podcast, and thank you so much for giving us such beautiful learnings, telling us your whole story. And I really really believe that a lot of people are going to be inspired after listening to this episode. Thank you
I'm sure.
so
I,
much.
I really hope so. I really hope so,
No,
yeah.
I know so. I am totally sure about it because, as I said, there are a lot of people who follow you, whom I know personally, and they'll be really, really, कहीं ना कहीं वो boost up आएगा at the end of this episode कि yes, we can do that. And thank you so much for that
Yeah.
positive energy. Thank you so much for being so, helpful in making me help people understand about different careers and everything. Thank you so much, Radhika.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to like and comment. Do share this episode with as many people as you can. And before you go, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for staying tuned. Next episode, next Saturday.